come up from the drives to help him with his saddle horse.
Okay.
Get him fixed. That's all I've ever done. I worked at Public Work and rode horses to subsidize my income. Hobby, passion, raising the kids.
Yeah. Now you live down Finger, right? Is that where you?
I live right now. I
Okay.
grew up down around Guys in Raymer. Went to
Okay.
high school at Raymer, grade school at Guys.
I got you.
And my daddy was a sharecropper. My daddy was a giant.
Okay.
Anyway, probably if you want me to just start telling you what I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I'm going to tell you everything I'm saying to the best of my remembrance, is word for word for the things that were said to me.
Okay.
We'll start with the chief of police in Selma, was Mr. Hugh Kirkpatrick.
Okay. No. Yep.
Okay, I worked at the landfill running dozer, dirt pan, and back in about somewhere 1970 or a little before. So I started back there, kind of had to have a landfill.
Yeah.
So this old fella had a big patch of property, it was gullies, and he wanted to fill all that up, make him a good pastor. He was one of them kind.
I got you.
And that's where I worked.
Okay.
And at that time. And at that time, he had been the chief of police, had finally retired from public service, you might say. He was a city judge 1 day a week. He owned the property where I worked.
Gotcha.
And,
So Hugh Kirkpatrick on where they had the landfill where?
yeah.
You know, gotcha. I got you.
Now, of course, he'd come out and he had a turnip patch way in the back and down a hill, and when it rained, wash it out. He won't take that dozer back there and fix the road, and I'd lick his butt.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hugh, fix a road, keep him happy. Sometimes he'd buy a pair of ponies and little old stuff and work in harness and want me to trim their feet or cut their mane and this, that, and the other. And we wasn't best friends, we wasn't best buddies. I'd done that because I worked there to keep him happy, and he had me to do it because he knowed I would do that. You understand?
I got you.
Okay. The morning after Pauline and Buford had their deal, when Pauline got killed, Mr. Hugh Kirkpatrick, this is all going to be this way. He'd come out to where I worked and sit around every now and then, and just, if I wasn't real busy, sit around, we'd talk a little, just go on.
So at the time this happened, he had already had that land made the landfill.
Oh, that was all. That had nothing to do.
No,
nothing.
I'm just trying to get my mind wrapped around.
Except that's my association with him.
With him, gotcha. Okay.
Like I said, he'd come out and sit around and kill a little time. And when I had time, I'd stop and talk to him or this or that, just to you know. And of course, you know how everybody gossips about things like that went on.
Yeah.
Mr. Hugh Kirkpatrick said, on the morning that happened, he's out, he said it's about 5 o'clock in the morning. He's the chief of police then. He's out riding around in the city, and Carl Pusser was Buford Pusser's daddy. Carl lived upstairs in the jail and run the jail for the prisoners. Mr. Hughes said he's out riding around about 5 o'clock in the morning. He went to work every day like that. And the radios come on, and he waited and couldn't make out what it was. And Carl, who was that? And he thought, I don't know, Mr. Hughes. He called Hughes. I don't know. I couldn't understand it. It's sort of a long story, but I can get
No, that's fine. No,
and anyway, he rode on around, and another car come in. He waited not to interrupt. He said, Carl, who is that? I don't know, Hugh, something's wrong. Somebody got hurt. Well, by then, over the place that used to be called Clayton's Beer Joint was out on the hill on the southwest end of town, and up on a hill, and he said them old radios would just pick up everything. So I headed out that way, and I got the third phone call, radio call, and he waited not to interrupt. And Carl, what's the matter? I don't know, Hugh, somebody's been shot. Well, he heard enough to know that Buford's involved in this. He didn't tell Mr. Carl. He just said, I just headed down South 45. And he went on down, and I don't remember exactly where that happened. It was off down there in the bottom, and there's two bottoms. But where Buford and Pauline had been was over on the Low-Rain Road in New-Hope. They went south to State Line Road, which was a gravel road at the time, and come out to 45 Highway and headed north to Selma. Mr. Hugh headed out that way. And said I got off down there in the bottom, and I saw his car go off the road, saw her done like that. And so when I got down there, I just got over on his side of the road, turned my lights on in front of him, and stopped, and got out to go up there. And he was hurt; he had blood all over him. And said I wouldn't hurried up there best I could, help him get out of the car. And always Buford is stepping out of his car. He's a big tall man. He'd always stand up, like with one foot in the car and skip backwards a step every time. Anyway, he's backing out of the car, and Mr. Hughes grabbed his arm, and he said he had blood and her brains all over him, and said, that's the maddest son of a bitch I ever seen. He was wiping the blood off of him, he done this way. Said, that's the maddest son of a bitch I ever seen. Said, Pauline sitting over there, top of her head blowed off. Blood all over the car. Now, that's about the extent of him. The next person that I'm telling you about was O'Neill Moffett. Was Buford's criminal
son.
investigator, Jim Moffat's son.
Yep.
O'Neill told me on different occasions that Jim and Buford and Petey Plunk was the threesome. Them three was close. O'Neill said that this is way on after Buford died. He said, Daddy knowed everything that went on, but I promise you he went to his grave and never told nobody. Okay. O'Neill Moffett was married to my wife's niece. Then my wife, now his widow. She could verify some of the stuff I'm telling you if she wouldn't just get scared to talk or whatever. And Brenda Moffett is her name. Okay. They come to my house I mainly visit my wife. I wasn't too close to either one of them. But in a conversation, me and him talked, and got on to Buford and Pauline and whatever. And he said, the morning that happened, that he is going to work, and heard on his radio, heard them talking about it, and he got to the courthouse, and they was all standing around, and this and that, and about what happened. Didn't know, nobody really know. And they had done carried Buford's car to be impounded I don't know exactly where, but they impounded his car in safekeeping. O'Neill said, after a little bit, I just went to where it was, went to where the car was, and said, I looked the car over. Said there was one bullet hole in that car from the inside. And said the next, Warren Jones was head of TBI here then, and it was the next day, or maybe the second day, I don't remember exactly. Warren Jones finally got down there to examine and started his investigation. The car was shot full of bullet holes from the outside. That's all. Well, of course, Petey Plunk was one of the deputies. His wife was named LaVon. LaVon Plunk. They divorced, and she married a guy named Dewey Sullivan in the old Purdy neighborhood. I lived in the Purdy neighborhood. The landfill had moved from the original deal. McNair County done sort of got uptight, got everything except hire me some help to help me. Was trying to do stuff, up and up. Again. Well, she divorced Petey and married this guy in the neighborhood, Dewey Sullivan. They bought a little quick stop store, and I'd go in there and get peanuts and a Coke or gas sometimes, just if I had any lunch to get a sandwich or something. And her maiden name was Jones. Zelford Jones was her daddy. Anyway, just in talking to her at the store, I don't know how we got on the subject, but we did. She's talking about her and Pauline run buddy together. They run a gown together. They would go to Tupelo or Florence or Jackson and places shopping. Now, Pauline had a boyfriend. His name was Kenneth Sharp. Called him Cooney Sharp.
Kenneth Sharp. Just S-H-A-R-P, no N on it?
Probably.
We say Cooney with a C. C-U-N-I?
Probably a K. His name was Kenneth. They called him Cooney.
Cooney.
So and he drove a Corvette. He's never had been married. He lived with his mother till she died, and he lived in his mother's house for some time, 4 or 5 years, or some short amount of time after she died. He still lived in her house. He burned up in his house. Now, just a little beer joint rumors. Now this is absolutely just off the main line. Everybody's opinion. People knew more about him than I did. Like Buford burned him up in that house.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that in Selma? In the city?
In Selma, right up in North Selma, up out close to the Selma Cemetery. You could find out where that was.
Oh.
Now, LaVon told me at the store. Now, me and her, we're just friends.
Yeah.
We talk tell little dirty jokes now and then. And on one occasion, I'd come up with a little cowboy triple X movie, and I said something about it. Bring it up here and let's watch it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was loose. We wasn't personal friends, but we were just loose.
Yeah.
And she said, her and Pauline, of course, run together. She had gone on to, now this is a few days, 2 days, 3 days, some short time before their shooting. LaVon went to Pauline's house, was going to go shopping, was going to go to Florence. She went in, and Pauline was in the bathroom doing her makeup, and she told Pauline, I need some rouge, or maybe it was lipstick, was something to smear on her face. Said, it's in my purse, get it. Her purse is on the couch in the living room. She walks back there and opened up the purse to get whatever item she wanted. The pistol laying right there on top of everything.
In the purse?
In the purse. Yeah. She said, what are you doing with that damn gun? I said, I'm going to kill that son of a bitch. He's been fucking up on me. Fucking around on me was the word. And that's about the end of that.
It was 2 or 3 days somewhere before.
Some short period of time before
you.
that. And it was all common knowledge that she knew he messed around.
Yeah.
He learned with a bunch of them.
Heard they both did, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some other item. Now, you think if I could remember the words, I'd think of it. We'll sit here a little bit and it'll come to me.
Did LaVon ever tell you anything about her and Buford getting in a fight, him beating her up, or the domestic violence or anything?
Never heard that. Never heard that.
She never told you that?
No. Well, that might have happened. LaVon was kind of she's a foul-mouthed woman.
Yeah.
After her and Petey divorced, after her and they didn't divorce her, they divorced, she married the other guy, Sullivan. Sullivan died, and then she took up living with another guy named Gerald Gann. They lived together for several years. Finally got married. Gerald would come hang around where I worked, just killing time. And in the neighborhood, he just sat in the graveyard and drank beer and this, that, and the other. But the only thing this is him and her lived together for several years, and I never heard nothing, never heard a word about Buford roughing her up or nothing. Of course, everybody knows about her killing Louise Hathcock.
Yeah, yeah.
That was kind of just another episode. And the rumors was that she went down and talked to her about somebody getting killed at their place, the Shamrock, the State Line Beer Joint. And whoever he talked to said she's over in the motel with the maid. He goes over there and had the maid to leave. And then during their conversation, Buford's version was she pulled a gun out on him and he dove and fell on the bed and shot him before he hit the bed.
Yeah.
Killed him. Is that similar to?
Well, it's all these incidents that we have knowledge of and files on. That there were never any eyewitnesses, none of them.
Probably wouldn't be.
Even with Russ Hamilton, when he killed that Russ Hamilton guy.
Yeah, remember that?
No witnesses.
Well, there was some. It was an old, just a hole in the wall cafe that didn't. When they opened up, it didn't never stay no time till it just starved out. Russ Hamilton, Hugh Kirkpatrick told me this, and he was still chief of police when Russ Hamilton was up at this beer joint in the north. I mean, the cafe in the north end of town. Which is right across the road from the cemetery. The building may be about torn down by now.
I know exactly where you're at. Right there at the old Y that goes to Bethel Springs.
That's right, over the rise in a concrete building. Anyway, Mr. Hughes said he walked in, he was in the courthouse when he called. The woman that run the place snuck out and got around to a telephone somewhere and called him and told him Russ Hamilton was up there drunk, a raising cane. Russ Hamilton was a bad dude.
Yeah.
Now,
I don't
he
know how
killed
he
one
was
of his
still in
wives
prison.
and one of his wife's mama, another wife's mama.
Down in Alabama somewhere, wasn't it? I thought it was somewhere down
They
there.
said they lived down the south end of the county at that time. My mother's sister was married to Russ Hamilton way in the beginning. Didn't last no time. Anyway, she married another man that was a good fella, and they settled down, and wasn't nothing else. This is more that shit house rumors.
I got you.
But anyway, Hugh Kirkpatrick said, I heard it, that Buford walked in where he's at there at the courthouse. What y'all talking about? And Hugh said, Russ Hamilton's up there in the north end of town raising hells, and I've got to go get him. And Buford said, I'll go. Buford had a black 421 Pontiac car, drove up in front of the building, was the story the way I heard it. He drove up in front of the place, got out of his car, and over the top of the car, Russ Hamilton come out there. And he said, I'm not coming out. He said, Buford said, I'm coming in after you. Buford walked out behind his car and he shot at him. Buford fell on the ground, rolled over 5 or 6 times, and shot him that many times.
Yeah.
And I know several women that Buford had to just maybe overnights with, or a 30-minute thing, or involved with. And I mean, that's common knowledge to everybody.
I probably heard all the same ones.
Okay. Oh, well, I may not have told you anything you didn't already know.
Well, no, I'd like to, if you can remember, go back in your mind, these conversations you were having with Hugh Kirkpatrick, because I got some information several months ago. I went and talked to a man still living that was alive back then, and, kind of involved in some of that. I had a conversation with Hugh about some things that Buford said when Hugh finally got him stopped. That kind of made Hugh think that, or he maybe even come out and told Hugh, maybe he was talking out of his mind or something, I don't know.
It's very, very obvious to me that's what's worthless. Hugh he thought that incident was between them two. She shot him in the mouth, and the bullet come out over here.
That's what Hugh thought?
No, that's what happened. I mean, when that incident, when that was over, he had to be doctored for shot him, evidently his mouth open.
You talking about where Pauline got killed?
Yeah. Apparently, it was Pauline that shot him in the mouth.
But Hugh went out there that morning. Did he ever tell you that Buford said some things to him, or
No.
Because see, there were some people that said that he could still get some stuff out on the radio. Now it was a little garbled, but from what I understand, he was able to talk to Petey and some of the other people that morning, and was able to talk to him just fine. I mean, it was a little slow because he was because of his wound. But
if I heard that, I lost that. If I ever heard any of that,
Yeah.
Hugh Kirkpatrick was the kind of fella. He couldn't. You couldn't walk up behind him.
yeah.
If he just walk up here and we stand out there, stay right there talking, he couldn't stand there. And if he heard a vehicle or somebody, he couldn't keep from looking around. It's just that way.
Wasn't he like a turret gunner or something in World War II or something? Wasn't he? He was like a highly decorated. I thought Hugh Kirkpatrick was like a World War II veteran or something like. From what I understood, I don't.
He may have been. I never heard that.
Does he have any family around that you know of still around?
Got a son. Matter of fact, he was a road commissioner at one time, and his son was a bookkeeper. Got in trouble with some money. Moved down to Alabama.
So Hugh Kirkpatrick's son moved to Alabama?
Yeah. What was his name? On one occasion, and he came out and where I worked, was talking. There was another guy he was there when Mr. Hugh drove up and was talking about his boy and moving to Alabama. and talking about the other guy said that when he was younger, that he got quite a bit of trouble. And this is an older man, maybe that could communicate with Mr. Hugh in an age group better than I could. But it was over my head, a little bit of a joke of Billy Hugh. Billy Hugh was his name, of getting in some trouble. And did you ever spend any money to get him out of trouble, Mr. Hugh? Or Hugh? He said, no, but his mama did.
You need to take that.
It would be short.
No, that's fine.
Linda. Yeah. Okay. Is it a nice one, nice enough one? Well, mine'll do okay since you got it cleaned up. Yeah, for now. Okay, thank you. Used to be sister-in-law cleans house for me, and it found me she thought a better microwave than what I've got.
I got you.
Okay, Billy Hugh Kirkpatrick, and I don't know the time. Mr. Hugh started off being, I don't know if he's a sheriff of the county first.
I think so. Yeah,
Road commissioner first, and then he was a state trooper.
Okay.
Or he was a state trooper first and then a road commissioner. He was a road commissioner on 2 different occasions. And that would have been, I don't know when, but it would have just, I went to work for the county in 1975, I believe. And all this stuff happened in 67, did it not?
Yes. So were you in the?
That would have been way before.
In the late '60s, though, but you were working at that landfill for Kirkpatrick.
No, not in the late 60s.
Okay. Well, I thought this happened in '67, and I thought that you had said that Hugh had come to talk to you after.
It was that long after.
Okay.
It was that long afterwards. And again, there were, now, I know I've heard of Buford roughing up some other people different times. And Hugh Kirkpatrick said on one occasion that Warren Jones asked Buford about, and I didn't get the name. I don't remember the name. And wanted him to ride to Alabama with him to see, if he recognized the man. That might have been the Russ Hamilton might have moved to Alabama at some point. Hugh said they went to Alabama, and said the man hung around a bar. Now, how they knew that, who knows? But they went to wherever it was. They knew the man to be, and said Buford didn't recognize him, wasn't him. Later on, Hugh said later on that man come up dead.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't remember if it was Russ Hamilton or somebody else. But anyway, other than that, I've talked to him casually at the service station a time or two. He's the only acquaintance I ever had. He didn't have no trouble out of him. Had some people that I knew, or say friends or knew, that one in particular, he turned his lights on to stop him, and the kid couldn't get off. Said there wasn't nowhere to get off the road, and I just went on. Maybe, as he said it, maybe a quarter of a mile to a little side road, pulled up and give him room to get off behind him. And that must have pissed him off, he said, for he whooped me and slapped me, knocked me around, and I put him in the car and carried him to jail. Called somebody to come get his car. And he said, if you let my daddy come get his pickup, let my daddy come get my pickup. He said, he didn't have a screen behind him. He said, over the seat, he just slapped him some more. He apparently was that way, and I don't know. I'll wake it tonight now and be sure that I hadn't left something out that would.
No, that's fine. I mean, you've got my number. I mean, you can always call me, but I'm trying to think of some more questions that I'd maybe pick your brain to jar some memory from you. Back on the girlfriends, you said you knew. Now, TBI and our stuff is confidential. We don't outside. Would you name some names on that? Yeah. His girlfriends that you knew?
One was a woman named Norma Jean Shelton.
No, Norma. Heard of that.
Another was, hang on. Oh, shit. You remember Donald Lee Fulgham, no doubt. He was a city policeman.
That name sounds familiar, yeah.
What was his sister's name? Was one of them. Sitting in the same booth. They were sitting side by side the booth, and I'm on this side at a truck stop cafe.
Was it the clock? Was it the clock?
Truck stop. And off Carolyn Grantham.
Carolyn Grantham. That was another one?
They're both dead now. Both them women are both dead. All these people are dead.
Yeah, I knew Norma was...
Only one that could have been possibly know anything about this.
Now, Caroline, was that Fulgham's sister? Is that the one that was...
That's Dolly Fulgham's sister and a first cousin to Norma Jean. And something was said about Buford in the Carolyn Grantham bragged about him being a man. And Norma Jean spoke up and said, I've been in a bunch of men better than him.
Well,
And
if he'd heard that, it might have pissed him off, I guess. I don't know.
well, you never know.
You ever heard of, was it Sheila Willis? I don't think she was a Willis back then. She was
Sheila Kirby.
Kirby, that's right.
She married a guy named Charles. Let's see, Charlie Willis. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. That's ring a bell as one of them.
I heard that. I mean, just yeah. I wouldn't raise my hand on that. I didn't see the other two. The other two said it to me.
I got you.
But and I heard about him going with Sheila Kirby.
Okay.
She's kind of a looker.
Back then, she was.
Yeah, back then she was. Yeah.
What about Ann Henderson?
Oh yeah. I don't know about Buford going with her, but well, I shouldn't. I don't. I'm going to say she's the kind,
Yeah.
but she's the kind. I don't know
you.
that. I don't know that I ever heard of Buford and her messing around. But there's a guy named Wayne White who lived here in Henderson, and he tried to be buddies with her, and it never did happen. But anyway, I know her. She's still living.
I believe so. Still works.
Still working. This Norma Jean, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing. It's Bill Rickman was a criminal investigator for the city of Selma.
Mm-hmm.
Norma Jean left the city's police department and went to work for the city, street and sanitation and whatever it wanted, whatever it was that they had custody of, and her and Bill started the thing. And when Bill Rickman died, she had really flipped out over him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't say those words to me, but she acknowledged her feelings for him.
The getting back to Levon, and the times you talked to her, does she ever say anything? And I'm asking you, if you repeat it, that's fine. But there may be things that you had conversations with her about that you might not think are significant, but that means something to me.
Yeah, I understand.
Anything that she ever told you about, the days, the hours, maybe more sooner to when Pauline was killed versus the time she saw the gun in her, that made you think, or did she ever tell you what her personal thoughts on was that Buford killed her, or did Levon ever tell you anything like that?
Well, the only thing that I would pinpoint is being worthy would be what I told you about. I knew they were friends, her and Pauline.
Mm-hmm.
Pauline was trying, Cooney Sharp had a friend that was, he was Hawkins. I think his first name, but he was the head hook and bull at the National Guard Armory in Selma.
Okay.
And Pauline was going with Cooney Sharp, and she got Cooney to try to get the Hawkins guy to go with Levon.
I got you.
Now this is all these is just coincidental.
Yeah.
But we just happened to be sitting at the same table the morning that this was brought up, and when he went to protect, I wouldn't scar my reputation for doing that. He was implying he meant to hold on to his retirement and all this, that, and the other. And apparently that didn't ever happen. So I don't know. Like I said, there'll be something else that might have been of interest, and you probably already know all of it anyway.
Well, I know it may sound redundant, like I'm asking the same thing over and over again.
No,
but sometimes
right.
that helps to jar memories. But did Hugh Kirkpatrick ever tell you? Did he ever tell you? I know what was said, but he killed her because she shot. No. Now,
if it was, he wouldn't have said nothing that he thought would ever get back to the police about Buford, because he'd been afraid Buford had killed him. He was that shaky. He was that kind of person. Yeah, he was that kind of fellow.
Even after Buford died.
Well, after he died,
I don't know if you had conversations with him.
He still wouldn't. I'm just saying about his nature. He'd be real particular who he said anything to. If he thought I'd ever sit down here and talk to you today, he would have never said a word to me.
Really? And him being the police chief?
Hey, one time there's a man named Lawrence Pettigrew.
That sounds familiar.
Him and Lawrence was like a two-layer cake. Lawrence Pettigrew never had a job. He always had a lot of money in his pocket. He flew with coon dogs and little old hunting horses and
Was
stuff.
Pettigrew in the bunch over near Decatur County, Henderson County, those Pettigrews that got in some
He was from the neighborhood of Gilchrist,
Okay.
close to Adamsville.
Okay.
And you, McNair County, you probably can't mention nobody that don't know his name. But when Hugh Kirkpatrick died, Lawrence had a third cousin that lived neighbors to me. Danny King called him Stinger. Lawrence thought more of Stinger than he did his own son. They were that close. And Danny King was he was down pretty good road himself. I mean, he was my friend, he was my neighbor, and we were neighbors. He's a good friend. He let me work on my old truck, and that's what he did for a living, and this, that, and the other. But he said when he was 13-year-old, Lavon Sullivan, I mentioned this to her, and she acknowledged that. Said her daddy was Buford Jones. Said, Stanger told me that Lawrence and a man named Rinks, don't know his first name, was making whiskey in the same holler, getting water out of the same stream with whiskey stills that belonged to Hugh Kirkpatrick.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
The two got into it, and Lawrence knocked Rinks in the head with a singer tree, killed him.
Oh.
And Stanger said that Rinks had a house full of little kids. But anyway, when I mentioned this, he said he put him in the back of an old Pontiac car in Zelford Jones' yard. He said they knew the revenuers was coming. They got him out and buried him somewhere. Or I take that back. They took him out and put him at his whiskey still and built a farm big enough to blow it up. Lavon, when I mentioned that to Lavon, she said he damn sure did. I was 17-year-old. They put him in an old car in my daddy's yard. My daddy had whiskey buried all over the yard. And they all got rid of all of it and sold it. And that was Hugh Kirkpatrick's baby.
I got you. So, well, I mean, it was different times back then.
He didn't live at the foot of the cross.
Yeah.
In county, I can tell you some more things that ain't no part of this. You probably ain't got time to listen to. That'll blow your dress up.
Well, I'm from Corinth, Mississippi. I was born and raised off Warren County, and so I grew up hearing the other side of the story because I went to school with Hathcock.
Dennis Hathcock?
It was his daughter, Elizabeth. Okay. She died of cancer in 2015. We went to high school together. Dennis
was raised by his grandparents,
Yep.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, Kilpatrick, or Patrick, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis was raised, that was his mother's mother and daddy. They lived right down below East, that little Midway neighborhood. They lived right down going north on the left side, going into the city limits itself. Dennis, he was, I'm be 78 in May, and Dennis, as a matter of fact, in the thing, when they dug Pauline up a month or so ago, they mentioned, his nickname was Wagon Hathcock. Yeah. They mentioned him, he made a statement of it, just a casual, nothing incriminating nobody. But when this was like now, 1961, 2, 3, 4, we lived neighbors to Dennis Hathcock.
Yeah.
He had a little dirt bike. He'd come there. I had 6 of us kids, 5 boys and a girl. He lived by himself. And he'd come and let me ride his little dirt bike up and down the road a little bit. And we'd play ball and this and that. And there was a girl. It was, she was a Hathcock. Married Harold Jones.
Was Dennis a pretty good fellow back then? Was Dennis a pretty good fellow back then?
Growing up, he was a little gentleman.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd break my heart to find out that after he got 30 years old or older, he turned into the rogue that his daddy and uncle and all that bunch was.
Yeah.
His grandmother and daddy literally raised him. He lived there. And I guess his mom and daddy, because I was a kid too then.
Yeah.
But they had him living with mama and daddy.
Well, I think part of that is people that watch the movies and they're not from there and they don't know the real history.
Movies is a joke.
They vilified his family. I mean, even though they were named something else, what they based on that, his family name was vilified. And I mean, back then, that's what people did. That's how they made a living.
That's right. His Buford's daughter, what the hell's her name?
Dwana.
I wrote it after she had married. I rode a horse. Everybody rode horses. Saddle clubs in, trail riding, whatever. She bought her a bay-roan horse from a man named C. Brewer, and it was already trained. And some of them suggested you ought to take it over to Charlie and let him ride it 30 or 60 days, so it'd be sure and be gentle for you. She did. Come there different times, and on one occasion, she sat in my house. I was married then. She sat in my house with her and her husband, and Buford had a $50,000, $500,000 life insurance premium. Half of it made out to Dewana, half of it to his mama. Is that right?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
That's the rumor. Anyway, she sat and talked about her daddy, and the night he had a wreck and got killed. And of course, after they left there, her husband got mad, and they spoiled, both of them spoiled brat. Dewana committed suicide on drugs.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
That's my neighbor hauling dirt out my house. Anyway, she sat in my house and cried, and then this is done years later about her daddy and this, that, and the other. And I complimented her daddy and whatever. And she said, "I'll give you one of his guns." I said, "Don't do that, Dewana." Now, I didn't know him that well. Don't do that. You need to keep them. And someday they might be worth a lot of money if you sell them. And anyway, they bought him a new Lincoln Continental, and he bought him a new Ford Bronco. And when he got home, got out of the car, they'd been into it, and she said he kicked the side of my car and bent the door in, because she thought that this should be a badass too. She picked up some ball bat or a stick of some kind, hit his Jeep and knocked the headlight or a window or something.
Oh, Lord.
So, anyway, about Buford, all the thing happened to Buford when he had a wreck. He drove like a madman all the time. Well, didn't nobody mess with his car. Dewana told me that night that she went to the McNair County Fair with some friends, neighbors, and Buford had been to Memphis to try out to play the role of Buford Pusser in the next movie and passed the test. He come back by the fair, and he knew she would be there, and it's her birthday. He said he had a big, measured high, a cup in his hand, and he said, "What you got in that cup?" He said, "I tasted it." He let me taste it, so there was no alcohol in that cup. But then he said, "I'm going to go on home, and I want to go with you." She said, "No." She said, he told her, she said, "Come home with your friend, some close neighbor there." It said, it'd be nice, or it might be rude if you didn't go with me, if you went with me, or didn't go with him, or whatever. So she rode on home with the neighbors. And went out there where he had his wreck. Car turned over and just went in the ground, and his own farm burning. She said, "I drug my daddy out on that car." He's 12-year-old. And Buford weighs 280, 290, and he wasn't an ounce of fat on him. And she sat there squalling, telling me that, and that's why her husband jumped on her. But anyway, we communicated a time or two after that, and Buford's mama, she got a half what was supposed to be $250,000 apiece, and different people in their neighborhood tell me that she spent every dime of that trying to prove that Buford was murdered instead of accidentally died.
I heard that, yeah. That's sad. I mean, it's we don't have an open case on the wreck, but I can tell you that from what I know to be a fact, that there was no tampering of that car.
No.
There was speed and alcohol.
Yeah. Now, of course, the girl said she might have been lying to me, but she said there wasn't no alcohol in there, there wasn't no whiskey or no kind of drink.
Well, Paul Urban, who's the sheriff down there, I've got his report, and I mean, it's in our I've got a file on it. It's just it's a closed case. But I trust the highway patrol back then.
Okay. Pauline, because you didn't do no autopsy on Pauline.
Yep.
That could vary. Now, I'm not trying to put nothing in your head, but for Buford to just tell them to don't do it would have.
I think it probably come close to being Carl.
There's another incident or two that happened when there wasn't no autopsy done, and people wondered why.
Well, in February of '66, when he killed Louise, they did an autopsy on her. And you see all these people on social media and stuff like, well, why are they digging Pauline up? They know she was shot with a gun. Well, hell, they knew Louise was shot with a gun too, and they did an autopsy on her. So why wouldn't you do one if you think you're after this Dixie Mafia state line crew? Why would you not want to do one that way? Because if you think you're gonna make an arrest on the road, you're gonna need that.
You said mafia people. I don't really, now, of course, I was a kid then, and you hear the stories, still people talk about it occasionally, but there wasn't no mafia there. It's just the people that own that place, a bunch of mean bastards.
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
And there's a bunch of people got killed there.
the Dixie Mafia. I'm not saying that there was some form of it that didn't exist. They were not organized like the Italian mob. However,
Or like drug dealers now.
Rex Armistead, that was an investigator in Mississippi for Mississippi Highway Patrol, he was the one that coined that term. Because back then they were trying to create these crime commissions across the country. Well, what do you need when you try to stand those commissions over? You need money. So if you generate the boogeyman, guess what? The government's going to throw a whole bunch of money because you got to investigate the boogeyman, right? Well, that's where all that came from.
Well, of course, outsiders like me, in every case, there's always rumors started and lies spread.
Because I'm going to tell you something. That last year, I sat in the room for 4 hours, sitting just as close as I am to you, interviewing Kirksey Nix. And I don't know if you've heard that name before.
Who then?
Kirksey Nix was the alleged ringleader of the Dixie Mafia. That was supposed to be the one involved in this.
I knew a family of Nixes, but I didn't know.
No, this bunch from Oklahoma.
Okay.
His dad was like an appellate judge out there or something in Oklahoma, but he was a thug. And matter of fact, he's in federal prison for he ordered the murder of a judge and his wife down in Biloxi, Mississippi, in the late '80s. And that's what he's serving a life sentence for. But the reason I say that is just because that's that Dixie Mafia stuff. That's
that
a
kind
myth.
of stuff is growing everywhere in it.
It's just
in McNair County, Mister. We don't even need to go there probably. Anything I could say to you, I'm going to tell you one anyway. But in McNair County, there's lots of things have gone on. I'll tell you this, it's off the ain't nothing to it. My daddy's sister married a man named Yulee Plunk. Yulee Plunk's his first wife died with him with 3 children, and then they had 5 more. He had 5, and then they had 3 more. Him and my aunt Letha, my daddy's older sister, had 3 more. He is no kin to me now, but he by marriage a cousin. He went in the military in 1954. I was a little boy, and he stayed no time, 6 months maybe. That they kicked him out of the military with a mental discharge or an honorable but it was a mental case. Soon after that, and I don't know, it might have been months or a year, but not long after that, he went to Murfreesboro to live in a mental institution. His daddy would go get him like on maybe Thanksgiving or Christmas and bring him home for 2 or 3 days. And he got the word. He was at himself enough to know that when he started carrying back up there, he'd have to trick him to get him back up there. Somewhere in the early 90s, I got fired from the landfill in 95. The county mayor and the bird dog for the county mayor called me after I got home at noon on Saturday, said, "We just don't need you tomorrow." And this happened just prior to that. Robert Plunk, his daddy was the administrator of his estate. Well, when he died, then his oldest sister, his oldest and a full sister, became the administrator of his estate. And at this point, he's in the Veterans Administration in Memphis. And Tavy Lawson was her name. Tavy Plunk was a maiden name. After this happened, I went to her house. And it really burnt me up. But anyway, she went to Memphis to see her brother, and they wanted to do exploratory surgery on him for some kind of cancer. And he knew enough, don't let him operate on me no more. And she just told him, he don't want to be operating on the more, we're not going to do it. And the doctor there said, well, you might as well take him home then, he's fixed to die anyway. It's the words she said to me. She brought him home. Sometime shortly after, whatever time it would take for the medication to lose chemical balance in his brain that kept him civil, It was never a violent, I mean, by nature a violent person, but keep it, you understand, it's for living. Okay. Then he got off and his sister talked him into going to the hospital. Upon this incident happening, she called her other sister, Patsy, to come over here with her, help her. And she went in pretty good ways. I mean, didn't know where she lived. Still don't. But she come to Tavy's house to assist her with their brother, and they called the ambulance to come get him. Ambulance comes from McNair County, ambulance come to get him. Then he decided he wouldn't go. They messed around there for a pretty good while, and one of the ambulance people called the police. Don Huggins was the deputy sheriff, and there was a Terry D. Gardner and some other guy that was constables or whatever came to the scene. And Terry D. knew him, he knew Terry D. Terry D. dead now. But this is in just prior to 95. Terry D. talked him into going to the hospital. Took him an hour, she said, to talk him into going. You need to go on, let him give you some medicine. You'll be all right, and you come back home. And y'all won't let him beat me up again, will you? And oh, well, nobody will harm you, so he agreed to go. All right, both the girls went, followed the ambulance, got him in the hospital, they admitted him in the hospital. What I'm saying to you, the ambulance service was responsible for him. The police department was responsible for him. And when they admitted him in McNair County, they were responsible for him. They were supposed to carry him to Memphis, to the Veterans Administration, were they not? Okay. They got him, put him in a room, settle down, they go home. And this is in the early night, done past daytime, early night. And it was about somewhere around midnight, a woman called and in a startled voice told David Olson, y'all need to get back up here now. Well, Patsy said, if you don't care, I'm going to stay here. I don't feel good. David goes back up there. Robert Lee was the sheriff then. Okay. And she goes back to the hospital, goes to the room. There's 4 deputies in there, and a man sitting over there with a newspaper, just reading the newspaper. And when she come in, jerked his cap down, shoved this up like so, hide his face. And where's my brother? What have y'all done with my brother? Oh, they carried him downstairs. Where'd they carry him? Where's he at? I'm going to see him. I'm going to go to my brother. The doctor came up the hallway. She stopped him in the hallway. Where's my brother? I want to see my brother now, whatever. And he tells her, if you don't get out here and go home, we'll evaluate you and have you committed. She jerked her arm loose from him and went back in the room. And he come to the door, and she kept on. And finally, he said, Sheriff Lee, get up and help me with this. It was Robert Lee that hit his face. Now, they carried her downstairs, had him it's a split level basement, had him shackled to the wall on a cot with his head beat. She said one of his ears beat nearly off his head, and he was beat. He died soon. He was conscious at the time. But it said, who did this to you? And when the others all had gone down there with him, it said, he did. Pointing at Don Huggins. Now, the ambulance service was on the way to get him then to go back to Memphis. They came. Now the other sister decides, I better go on up there. Well, Tavy couldn't keep, they put him on the stretcher, got him up to the elevator and run down the hallway, and she couldn't keep up with him. She had a little age on her then. Yeah. Robert was like 70 then. 70 years, 50 years he'd been in the mental institution. Everybody had to know. Okay. And when the ambulance people got out to where the ambulance loads and unloads the people, patients, was there, this girl, the other girl drove up. And Robert, what's wrong with you? Who done that to you? And she got on the ambulance drivers about who has beat him up this way. And by the time her sister got there, they had him in the ambulance, strapped down, and one of them told the other to strap him down tight. We got to go in a hurry. That's how they had to go to Memphis with him. And he was DOA. Now, I went to the man who was administrator of the McNair County General Hospital then, Bob Hammond. There was a 3-man committee out of the county commission appointed to be a committee over the hospital. Now, this is the way McNair County does this stuff. And Bob Hanna didn't play ball with some stuff. And that was the way I got to know him. I worked at the old landfill. He seen me around the horse shows and with horses and whatever. I saw him somewhere, and he said, "Who can I get to trim my horse's feet?" He had an old horse, old gray, and his daughter had a pony. I said, "Well, I can't. I mean, ain't no horse shoe. I do my own." "Well, how much you charge me?" That's $20 a piece. And I went and done it. And he's there and he paid me. And he said, "I tell you what, you come by just whenever you need to. If they need their feet trimmed, you trim their feet, and I'll send you the trimmings where you left them, or you can leave me a note. I'll send you $40." And he did for a couple of years. But now this has come down to now. The hospital committee had paid him a year and a half salary, which at the time was $160,000 to retire.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. After the Robert Plunk incident, he come to the landfill where I worked and bring off his garbage, driving an S10 Chevrolet pickup. And I had been to Tavy's house. This is immediately after it happened. And I wrote down, I couldn't pronounce it, but a word or some kind of medicine about that long that they gave him. And I just, when Bob Hanna drove up, and "Well, where do you want me to put it?" I said, "I was right there." So I stopped my dozer, got on talking to him, and I brought that up. Now, we were friends enough by now for him to be loose with me. And I said, I gave him that name of that medicine on a piece of paper. Dr. Peeler had given him the medicine. And Bob Hanna says, "Under no circumstances would you ever give that to a mental case." And then 2 hours later, give him another shot. He said, "Furthermore, you'll never give him a second shot. You wouldn't give it to nobody within 8 hours. They give him 2 in 2 hours."
Wow.
Now, the nurse pissed him off and he slapped her. She calls her husband, Don Huggins. He comes to the hospital and beat him to death. Now, that's the words exactly how they were spoke to me. Nothing wasn't ever done.
Like I says, different times. I mean, that's that's something.
That sounds like, surely you may think I'm lying,
No,
but
no,
I swear,
no,
I hope God strike me dead before I get home.
I just know that's something that we would be called in these days to look at. Why we weren't, I don't know.
There's another incident that's still pending. A kid named Eddie Wayne Wagner come up missing. You know the name? His daddy's same age as me, been friends ever since we were teenagers.
That don't sound familiar.
Eddie Wayne Wagner was a dirty little bastard. Sorry. His daddy said to me one time, I know he's sorry as hell, Charlie, but he's my son. He come up missing, and a bunch out there around Purdy. Can't think of the guy's name, but he had a rap sheet so long, wore an ankle bracelet. Later married my neighbor's first wife. Eddie Wayne would leave home. He's on drugs, and he just wasn't no good. Anyway, he left, got in jail a bunch of times. One time, his daddy come to me. I said, "Charlie can get him maybe county hard. He can get him a job. I don't care what to pay him. He just needs a job." I went to my boss and asked him about me hiring me a flunky. You know, he can go get fuel for me, or he can help me grease a dozer, and he can direct traffic and this, that, and that. And I taught him how to run the dozer and the scraper over time. Get on his ass every day, and he mess up. And he'd leave at noon and not come back at all. Come in at 9 o'clock in the morning, or maybe come in after lunch at 2 o'clock or whatever. And I finally fired him. So I went to where his daddy worked, the farmer's co-op. I said, "Larry, I'm about tired of missing Eddie Wayne." And he said, I understand, Charlie. I appreciate you trying to help me." And I run his ass off. Sometime later, Larry asked me, he said, "Reckon that would you hire him back if they'd let you?" And I said, "Now, Larry, I said, bring him, come with him, bring him to my house. I want to talk to him." And they come, and he asked me about getting, I just waited until he asked me. I talked to him, Eddie, his daddy. I'd like to have a job back out there or whatever. And I said, "Eddie Wayne, you know how it was then. I ain't gonna be no different now than I was then. Now I know I got on your ass a bunch. I was trying to help you. You learned good. If you'd have just stayed till you mastered the trade of running the bulldozer and the scraper, you'd go anywhere and get a good job." And on and on. And he said, I know it was a mistake." And I said, "Okay, we'll try again." And he just stayed 2 months that time. Till matter of fact, he come in, I don't know, sometime 9 o'clock or way, open up 7. And I was working, the traffic coming in and out and on and on. And I just ignored him. And he had an old garbage compactor sitting there with a glass cab. It was a cool time of year, the sunshine on him window. He crawled up in there and went to sleep. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he's still asleep. Our state inspector had come, and he got up there taking pictures of him. And the traffic coming in and out all day long, big garbage trucks are dumping and slapping and knocking, even up until 5 o'clock. I went out, locked the gate, and left him in there. And I told him the next day, well, how come you locked me up? I said, because I'm tired of fucking with you anyway. Get away from here and don't never come back. Okay, sometime later, it's been probably 7 years ago now, I went to his daddy's house after that happened, and he talked to somebody in the TBI. He talked to Marshall Blackburn.
Okay.
He talked to everybody that politics could get a hold of. And Guy Buck lied to him like a dog the entire time. Finally just quit answering the phone. And I sort of understand that if you're not going to do something.
Yeah.
Anyway, now later on, Larry, I went to Larry's house and he told me, said they arrested him, carried him to jail, like on a Friday, stayed there 3 days, and over the weekend, and on Monday morning turned him out. He didn't go before a judge or nothing, they just turned him out. He called his daddy to come get him. So his dad lived in Stantonville. He went to get him. This has nothing to do with what that we started out. It's just another McNair County. His daddy went to Selma and got him while the boy was in jail. He said, "Now, just walking around out in the yard, I'm broken-hearted." He didn't say that. He just broken-hearted. What am I going to do? And the boy ain't no damn good. He's, I don't know, probably 18 or better.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he's better because he had a little bastard kid. Anyway, and before, while he found out he's in jail, he was walking around in the yard, as I said, and he said there's a little cherry tree there was hollering. He said, "I seen something in that tree, and it was a package of marijuana. And it had rained." He said, "I just sprayed it out in that water, in that mud puddle." And just, then on Monday, the boy called him to come get him. And he went and got him, brought him home. So we pulled up the driveway, and I just tried to talk to him without just aggravating him about doing better, if he could get a job, and this, that, and that. And got out of the truck, and he went straight to that tree. So I stand there looking at him, and "Daddy, what'd you do with that? That's $700 worth. I ain't paid for it yet." Okay. Sometime in the next day or two, they got into it. It was out in the yard, and this was after that I was there at his house talking to him, and I had bought some harness. He had 2 big old jennies he wanted to break to work, and I had a bunch of harness. Still got a bunch. And they ain't worth nothing now. And he called me and said, "Will you buy that harness back? I just don't care about fooling with jennies no more." I said, I don't need it, Larry. What do you want for it? Man, I'll give you $300 for it. I knew he had the problems, being a good old Charlie. I'll give you money back. And I went over there to get it. And it's when he told me the story. He was standing there in the driveway, and he said, we got into it. And he said, Eddie Wayne walked off and down across that pasture, crawled through that fence, and walked up that road right there. So this was 2 years ago. That was, he said, 5 years ago. He walked that fence, walked up that little road toward the blacktop, a woods road kind of thing. Said he'd never been seen or heard of since. Now, later, his brother's neighbor had a daughter in jail in Ripley, Tennessee. She's a drug head, and I can't think of this guy's name, or you'd heard of him, I guarantee it. And he's now was married to a woman that my neighbor married first, and she was I'll think of it. Anyway, again, the girl, this woman lived neighbors to his brother. Had to give a letter. She had been to Ripley, Tennessee to visit her daughter on Sunday in jail, and she gave her a letter. She slipped it out to her mama. Get this to Larry Wagner. Give this to Billy Joe. Tell him to give it to Larry Wagner. Mama went to the house and gave the letter to his brother. He called him, and he went to his house and got the letter. And, this girl in Ripley was going to have to come back to Selma in due time. She was afraid they'd kill her. Now, she was in the car with this Amy, I'll think of it. At that time, she married this guy from Alabama that had the long rap sheet and wears a bracelet. And he's supposed to be, according to my neighbor, who was married to a woman, and he's got a daughter and a granddaughter and two grandkids by grandkids of that woman. And he know some of the stuff I'm telling you come from him, like the name of the man and how sorry his wife was, and this, that, and the other. But Larry got the letter, and he called me later. And he said, "What you doing?" I said, "Early in the morning." That's on Monday. He got the letter, and a morning or two later, "What you doing?" I said, "Here, stuck in a coffee cup. You gonna be around home a little while?" "Yeah, I'm coming up there right now." He come up there and let me read the letter. The girl that was in jail at Ripley was in the car with the guy, I can't think of his name, and this Amy, whatever her maiden name was, and then there was a Ricky Hill Jr. Was in the car, and Eddie Wayne Wagner. And this Amy girl got mad at Eddie Wayne, said, "Kill that son of a bitch." She shot him in the back, and then shot him in the back of the head, and put him in a well, and then the word. Do what?
Seems like I've heard of this one. A lot of the stuff's similar.
I understand that the Savannah was going to bring their equipment, go down in the wells, check them wells.
You talking about Smith was the last name?
No, what's it was a funny name. Maybe I'd never heard before.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about, though.
Anyway, the Hardin County law came, and with the equipment they had, went down into several wells and didn't find it. But the girl in the letter, I read the letter, and I made a copy of it. I'll get to that. They, through whatever means, they I guess the public knowledge or newspaper or whatever, they was going to go drag some ponds. They're going to look in the wells, and he did that and didn't find it, and he went and drug some ponds. And the girl said, told Guy Buck that she didn't know nothing about how getting killed or whatever. And in the letter now, I'm busting this up here. In the letter, they buried him in a rock pile, in a rock pile, like a gravel pit. And the only thing around Purdy like that would have been some loads of gravel been dumped and piled up where traffic couldn't get in that road, went down to a private property with a big lake on it. And I went out there in the neighborhood with Larry Wagner. We looked everywhere, and of course didn't see nothing. But anyway, this girl said she's in the car and she's willing to testify, but she wanted police protection.
And this is the one that Guy's not even helping on.
Yeah, he won't even talk to the guy. Anyway.
Give me a copy of that letter. Give me a copy of that letter.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll guarantee the man. I got a copy of it and gave it to Ronnie Faulkner.
Okay, well, Ronnie just retired Thursday. Ronnie and I were partners.
Okay.
So
Ronnie, you know everything about Ronnie?
I know. We're not tight, but we work together.
Before he ever become a lawman, he'd cut up his E71 Chevrolet before dark.
Him and his brother down there. I tell you, his brother got a shop up here in town, Kevin.
Actually, the sheriff here, Blair Weaver.
Blair, yeah.
They were buddies. It's another guy named Tommy Stout. Tommy Stout, just a deadbeat mechanic, and they all. Another friend of mine, my good friend, said they was buddies back in, and they bumped elbows, cutting those pickups to get up. Tommy went to jail twice for that, and he couldn't go no more and be a habitual outfit. Anyway,
Ronnie's still into them vehicles and everything. I mean,
okay. I called that morning when I read the letter. Lee Faulkner, Ronnie Faulkner's daddy. He's dead now.
Yep, he died last year.
I called Lee and said, "Lee, come down here. What's the matter?" I said, "I got something to show you. I need you to come down here. You busy? Come down here. Right now? Right now. I'll be down in about 20 minutes." He come down there and I showed him the letter. I said, "If I make a copy of this, can you get it to Ronnie?" And he said, "Yeah." So I went to where I used to work, had the girl make a copy, kept the original, and give it back to Larry Wagner, give that to Ronnie. And it went on weeks later, run into Lee in a old Corner Express right over here on on the bypass, where some people go in there and sit at the table, drink coffee, in that shit house room. I went in there and I said, Lee, what did you give that letter to Ronnie? He said, nah, he's still laying on the dresser there at the house. I said, Lee. And I said, why? And he just, I don't got off on something else, didn't want to talk about it. And that family's some that way. Anyway, I went in there a few mornings later on purpose. Lee going about that morning. So what about the letter, Lee? See, I give it to Ronnie. He said, well, your boy was sorry, son. This wasn't. I said, his daddy said to me that he was sorry, but he's my son, and I love him. And I've never heard nothing else about it.
What was the in that letter? What was the name that girl said the one that did?
I can't.
You can't remember.
Ricky Hill Jr.
Ricky Hill Jr. was the one that
done the killing. He was in jail in Selma. He was supposed to be in jail in Selma. His daddy worked for the county and putting in light bulbs at the jail and cleaning up in the garbage.
Is Eddie Wayne? No, Eddie Wayne was the.
Eddie Wayne's the one that got killed.
What's Eddie's last name? Is
Wagner.
Eddie Wayne Wagner. I'm just trying to get it right. So I need a copy of that letter.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'll get it and I'll call you and bring it to you.
So just to tell you,
I got Larry's phone number. I don't know his number, but I'll give it to you. I call him now.
I don't live far from you, so I live. Where I live. You can come over here and put it in the mailbox, or if I'm home, call me or text me.
I'll hand it to
Swing by
you.
that.
I'll hand it to you.
That's fine. However,
I'll get you a copy of the letter. Now, Larry spent a bunch of money, and of course, the boy's mama divorced. Larry had, her name was, what was her damn name? I'll think of it. Anyway, they had separated, and Larry, of course, all he had was what he had in the company retirement stuff, and he took that out and put it in Modern Woodman, and without paying taxes or whatever. And him and his ex-wife had talked, and she remarried, and real jealous of him. And he had talked to a lawyer, and she going to come up with $9,000 up front. And he's talking to his ex-wife, who her husband was a car dealer, and she said that was whatever day. Said I don't remember the day they talked, and remember she put it in there. We'll say it was Monday. She said the money will be in your mailbox Monday morning, or whatever morning it was. And you went to the mailbox, the money was there. They said he gave it all to the lawyers, and they didn't get off the ground. Didn't get nothing done.
really? Okay. Yeah, I want to read that letter.
I'll have that, the man I can't think of.
Just so you know, my schedule. I don't know what you. So I'm leaving as soon as we get done here. I got to go to Nashville. I'll be up there through Wednesday, but I'll be back home Wednesday evening. I'll be home Thursday, Friday. So just you holler at me, and I can meet you on the road, or you come over by the house.
I'll have that letter. I'll have a copy of that letter, and I'll have this man's name. That was the ringleader of that carload of people.
Okay. All right.
He's the one that was. He's supposed to be hooked up.
See, I've heard of this one before. I don't know if we actually opened a case on that.
Never has been.
But I've heard of it. So we'll either get requested by the DA, the district attorney, for TBI to get involved in something. We have to have a district attorney's request because of jurisdictional, right? So the sheriffs and the chief don't get involved. Well, I know the DA over there. So
I went to school, of course, Van Wardlow just said he's a judge.
yeah.
I went to high school with his mother.
Well,
I don't know him.
the girl that's the assistant DA over there now, Lisa Miller in McNary, I went to high school with her son, her husband.
That might would help.
So
Now, okay. Now this don't. Well, it is worth
But
something.
I'm just so you know, I'm gonna keep this very between us because I'm gonna deal with Lisa. I'm not gonna deal with Guy on this. So
Okay. Now with the Wagner, there's three of them boys: James Lynn and Larry and Billy Joe. The baby boy was a little runt, had that little man syndrome, and sort of red hair and temper like a red walrus, and thought he could whoop everybody. The older boy, James Lynn, wouldn't find his nuts off his ass. Couldn't whoop his way out of a wet paper sack. Larry Wagner, he said to me, He was raised Eddie Wayne's boy. When I get him grown, Charlie, somebody's gonna give me some answers. The law hadn't helped me none. He'll kill him.
I may get you one of these days. I may meet up with you down there. You'll see Larry.
I'll be happy to go take you
I
back
want
to
to
his
read.
house.
I want to read that letter first. I want to, and I want to look in our computer system to see. Matter of fact, when I get on my computer, I get to Nashville. I'm gonna look it up. We could have done what we do in assist. That's where we don't open a full case. We might just go help a sheriff's office or a police department do an interview or tell them what to do or this or that, and then we'll write up a little report saying, hey, that may be what we did.
On one occasion, with this deal, Eddie Wayne had left home, and he went out purdy, hanging around with some druggers, and there was a guy, Christopher. They called him nickname Pudgy. Can't think of his first name, but he got caught making moonshine, doing drugs, selling drugs. He shot Eddie Wayne Wagon, and he had felony charges of different kinds on him. And I just say a felony charge, put it that way. I don't know the extent of that, but he shot Eddie Wayne Wagon, shot in the back. Most of it hit him in the butt, and some of it in the back. He's fair enough. Well, he didn't hurt him bad, but shot him with a shotgun. And Larry asked the guy, if he shot more with a shotgun, they knew that. How come you did? He had a felony charge. He ain't supposed to have a gun. He could at least done that. He said, we could put the Pudgy Christopher, we put him away for 40 years. We just don't want him locked up. There's no reason for Larry Wagner to lie about that.
Is their names Wagner or Wagoner?
Wagoner.
With an O?
Yes.
Like 2 G's?
One G. W-A-Y-O-G-N-E-R. Wag, W-A-G-O-N-E-R.
Is it related to the Wagner that used to be the historian down here that wrote all the Buford?
I don't think so, but
died here recently?
They're cousins to, what's the old country singer?
I've got it on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Old 70s, like 60s, 70s.
Yeah. Had a fling with Dolly Parton one time. Porter
Wagner. Yeah.
I'm not sure about the historian guy. There's no likeness in the two people, in these people and him. And I don't know if they may be distant cousins.
But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
He's a nice fellow and a
just
gentleman.
Died here recently,
Yeah, he was a good fellow and a gentleman. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I've covered everything.
And you may remember some stuff. If you will, we'll sit down again or we'll talk again. Because I'm gonna look. Yeah. Well, so just so you know, I'm a supervisor, so I can kind of pick and choose, kind of what I get involved in a little bit. And the Pusser case kind of fell in my lap. To be honest with you, it was 2 years ago, 2022. Me and another agent who's retired last year. We were at a conference, and he said, and he was out of Nashville. He said, you ought to come up to my office sometime in Nashville. Come there and just sit and read that Pusser file. He said, you ain't gonna believe it. Like, so without getting into a lot of detail, he said, so I went by there and we sat there one day, and me and him come up, and we found out that this Kirksey Nix, who Buford had tried to pin it on, was still alive and was in prison in Oklahoma. So we were like, we hopped on a plane and flew up to Oklahoma and went and saw him and interviewed this guy. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. And we not knocking them old guys. There's a lot of things we can do today that Warren Jones and that bunch did not have technology-wise.
Forensics of all kinds.
There's a lot of things we can do now that they didn't have. I'll just leave it at that. And, so.
I'll go to Larry Wagner's house. Ain't today. I'll go tomorrow. I'll go to his house.
Yep.
What is your name again?
Did you get that card?
I got your card.
I go by Mike.
Okay.
It's Mike Parson.
I won't give this to him. I'll keep
That's
it.
what. I don't think I got another one, or I'd give you a second one. But you can show him or let him take a picture of it. Sure I did.
You did.
You may have stuck it in your pocket or something.
Here it is. With the telephone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you, and you got my cell. I was gonna say I don't think on those cards I put because I don't want everybody to have to sell them. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
But you got my cell. So
Now, Mister, I know in the beginning, I thought that really now in McNair County, in Chester County, there's more thieves than any county I've ever known of. from 80-year-old down. McNair County ain't much better.
Now, you know, being that I'm originally from Mississippi, Corinth, but from what I know and talking to, I still talk to Eric Bell, son, who was the sheriff here. He's still alive, and the history of Chester County used to be a little, until they cleaned it up, it used to be a little, there used to be a bunch of clubs and honky tonks up through here that was rough.
That's right.
But, you know, because I believe Buford crafted his own myth and built his own legend, that's why he made
Buford's
it.
deal was, of course, there wasn't no drugs to speak of back then,
All
moonshine,
moonshine,
whiskey.
yeah.
And
White
you
whiskey.
give him some money all along. There's a few hard heads that thought they don't have to give him money. We can do it.
And that's the
You
stills he
can't
put out of business.
That's the one he put out of business.
That's right. I bet them people would have thought, man, if I just paid him $500 a month, he'd been off my back, and I'd still been making
50,
whiskey.
75,
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever, anything.
I heard he was making a lot of money back then.
Paul Irvin said after his term as sheriff, he said, if a man don't make enough money while he's making sheriff to retire on, he don't pay. I remember the rest of the phrase, but you know, he wasn't worthy of having retirement. But that wasn't the word. He said if a man couldn't make enough while he's in there.
Well, you probably know this working in the county, but you know, I think Buford's salary when he was the sheriff down there was $6,000-7,000 a year.
It wasn't nothing.
With nothing back then. Had to furnish your own car.
Minimum wage then was less than about. I went to work in '65.
Yeah.
In the mid got out of high school in '64 and went to work in a shoe factory, 90 cents an hour.
Yeah. And I mean, you had to supplement your income somehow because back then the sheriff had to furnish his own cars. He had to pay for I think he would have to pay for all the meals for the inmates, and then they would send a report out to the commissioners, and they would reimburse them or something.
For the county jails now is making out like a bandit.
Oh, I tell you, especially the ones that house in federal prisoners.
Well, Selmer's got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But this ain't nothing to do with the Buford Pusser incident. Had a friend lived in Bolivar, Tennessee, that had a ham radio. Everybody didn't have them back then. But he talked to different ones and this and that and other. Of course, he could talk to the police in different counties. Talked to Andy Devine one time in California.
Wow.
And he thought the man was shooting him a line, so Andy Devine sent him a postcard.
Really?
Anyway, on one occasion, there's a man named Gerald Sanders had an 66 Plymouth car, 426 engine, with a 4-speed transmission, and he wore it out, run it up and just racing. It wouldn't outrun nothing. But it's red color, and it has 6 tail lights. It was Friday night, and he headed home. He's been in town riding around like everybody does, and he headed home and headed down 64 West. And there's another guy, Lyndall Hodge, and his wife. Lyndall had just bought a 67 Chevrolet Impala. Of all things, the 427 engine was a 3-speed on the column.
Oh, man.
The Chevrolet put it out, and the Chevrolet place had it. And I guess he bought it because it was market. And anyway, okay. And Buford had that 421 Pontiac, and he also had a 66 Caprice Chevrolet. When the Pontiac come in, Sibley Chevrolet was a Chevrolet Pontiac dealer. Right across the bank is now across the courthouse. And when they called him, said his new car had come in, he went over there, backed up at the shop door, and raised up a trunk, and y'all put this stuff on. And a set of headers, and 3 deuces carburetors, and I forgot now what else. And that does something for a Pontiac.
I bet. Yeah.
In 421, about like a river barge. And they told said it'll cancel the warranty if you put it on it. Okay, sometime, and he Larry Price, the Cars for Kids guy, they'd race, and this, because Larry's dead now, but they'd race and this, that, and the other. And Larry's deal in that Cars for Kids thing is the only thing Buford Pusser could never outrun him. But now he could.
I bet.
Okay, this deal I'm talking about was my friend lived in Bolivar, and it was Ronnie Grantham was a policeman, and just a little cop in Hornsby, and not much more than a constable, we'll say, stature. Anyway, Gerald Sanders had left going home in the old red Plymouth. And he's running there just hitting him heel, wow, just going. And he run around Buford before he knew who it was. And then he thought I was going fast enough, I got running. Okay, here they go, Buford took off after him. And then they went over some hills, and Gerald Sanders passed Lyndall Hodge in those 67 Chevrolet going home. And it was like Lyndall and Tommy Brooks is the guy on with the radio. And we all talked about it a time or two. And he said, old Gerald come by and he thought he was going to outrun me, so I just thumbed it up in second gear. Well, when he went around Gerald, Buford was catching up.
Yeah.
Buford discarded Gerald and went on after Lindo. He went into Hornsby, radioed to Hornsby Law, and said, set up a roadblock. I'm doing 140 and I've lost him.
Wow.
Anyway.
I don't know. I tell you that maybe when I was in my 20s that'd have been fun, but these days,
Today I wouldn't want my son. I got two boys, got two good
I'm
boys.
scared to death.
And I wouldn't. There's a lot of things I wouldn't want them. I wouldn't care about them knowing about car racing.
I tell you what, we went back last September, August, September. We went out and we recreated New Hope Road. We went out about 4 o'clock in the morning. Had a car, similar car to Buford's. Had a car behind that New Hope Church. Just trying to see if we could do it. Well, I was sitting in the passenger side of the car behind the church, and I had one of my agents driving, and I was recording and documenting and everything. So we called, had a speakerphone, and I said, all right, get up to 45, 50 mile an hour and go down. So as soon as the car goes by, we get out, and I said, catch him. So you catch him on the bridge. And he's only going, the car, my agent that was pretending to be Buford, was only going 45 mile an hour. My driver had that thing up to 85, 90 mile an hour on New Hope, and you can hear me on that recording. I mean, you tell I was about to crap my pants because I'm like, curve, slow down, curve, shit. I mean, just driving fast these days just does nothing for me. So,
matter of fact, my sons make fun of me sometimes about.
But you know what? We never, even at 45 mile an hour, we didn't catch up. The car had already passed the bridge and went up the hill before we ever got to the bridge.
Now that you said that, with traffic, now I don't know that'd be a good state trooper, but let's say me and you leave here right now, and you're going to head toward home. If you're going to head to Tupelo, if you get 3 minutes ahead of me, 3 minutes, and drive the speed limit, I've got to run like hell and catch you way down yonder somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking car hits or something.
You almost have to double the speeds.
Now, I'm trying to do this just out of my own way. Is you on a 4-lane road, there's 2 of you going along here, and I'm sitting dead on 65, and this car just comes right on by. And maybe I'll speed up ever how much I need to catch up, and just 2 or 3 miles per hour is a lot.
Oh yeah.
Going around a curve is noticeable.
So I'll tell you, it's just common knowledge because there's videos out there of Buford when he was interviewed by CBS and all this. Where he tells them, I was going 50 miles an hour because the roads, because it was on Church Road. New Hope was church. They freshly charted it back then. So I'm not telling you anything that's kind of shouldn't be telling you, but because it's out public. But so what we did is just said, all right, he said he was going 50. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go 45, 50, 55, just a sample, just to say. That way it was, he said 50, but he was really going 50, so we just did a sample. And I did, because the technology of these phones have got GPS in them now, so every time where we were able to catch up with the car, got further and further and further away towards the state line from the bridge. So even at 45 mile an hour, it was almost a mile past the bridge before we caught up to him driving at that speed. So if you believe what he said, it's not possible that, especially, you could have drove with no headlights on New Hope Road, freshly charted road, to drive the speeds you would have to drive to come out behind that church to catch up to that bridge. It's not possible.
No.
It's not possible.
Now, this is just I don't know what kind of a statement. If Buford had to drive 50 miles an hour, he just wouldn't go.
That's right, because we know he did say, before that, when he left his house, he described this damn convoluted way to get down to where he was going. Grand scheme of things, it was less distance, but it was this all the way down. Said he's going 90 mile an hour down through Stantonville and all these little back roads and everything. Yeah. When all he could have done, he could have opened it up to 140 mile an hour down 64, hung a left, and he'd been there lickety split, So
on one occasion, it was either Jack Haycock or W.O. Haycock going toward, if you go down to Eastview, and head east on 57. There's 2 or 3 ways to
Oh,
get
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
But from in the Mayflower Road.
Yep, Mayflower goes out.
Over there in the Canal Bridge where one of the Haycocks did he get killed there or just had a bad record and run his car off in that canal?
Who, Buford?
Buford was supposed to be involved in that.
Yeah, I can't remember. Back then, them roads were named something different, and they were because I grew
That
up
was
running
the New Hope Road.
Yeah, well, the New Hope Road now it's Stisson, and you know you got Davis Yancey. Now it's Acton Road, or it was Acton Road back then. I can't remember. I remember the road because it'd carry you out to 350. You know,
That's
you go
right.
down
That's
to.
right. Go to Mickey and turn 22.
Because we used to ride all them back roads when I was a kid. We'd take our four-wheelers down to three-wheelers and Sharp's Bottom and all that. You know.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't. I hope it's had wasted your time.
No, any bit of information. It's like we describe it as like you understand it's like a big puzzle, and every person that's got information, we're just putting a little bit more. Because eventually we'll get it. We'll have the full picture.
Pauline had a son when she married Buford. He left here, went to Arkansas or Arizona or somewhere.
Michael.
That's right. That's his name, Michael.
Yep. He's dead now.
Is he?
Yeah, he died in 21.
Oh, he was younger than me, so it wasn't of old age.
Yeah, so no, he had cancer. I think that's what it was.
Okay.
Now he's got two. Michael, Pauline's son, Mike, had two sons, Eric and Mike Jr. They're still alive.
No of them.
But all you ever heard about was Mike and Dwan. You never heard about Diane too much. Now, Diane was Pauline's daughter from Roman Vance out in West Virginia. And then they actually had another. Pauline actually had a daughter,
You know,
Karen, who had some mental issues, and Pauline had divorced Roman Vance, and she was a single mom with 3 kids, couldn't support, so she had to give up Karen. So,
we all have genetic makeup. And what knowledge I have of this, I've done it through horses with pedigrees. One man told us at a horse auction and looking at some stuff, and one man told us that he can look at the horse and tell what he wrote on his papers. Well, I don't know if I do that, but I can look at their papers and tell how much trouble I'm going to have to get him rode.
oh yeah.
As a 2-year-old. And through humans, all species have genetic makeup.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm leading to is Dewana had temper just like a damn red wasp. In later years, she looked like a damn witch. She tried to paint up like a movie star.
It was in that bloodline. And all, you know, even I don't know how, I probably knew him better than I did, because, I mean, he was dead when I was a kid, but Carl was not, I mean, he was, I think he had some political pull,
He's about dirty bastard.
but he was a horse's ass, you know, literally, you know. From what I
These people beat to death in the Selma jail. Different ones of them.
yeah, so he was kind of heavy-handed himself. That's probably where Buford got it. And,
Yeah. But the thing is, talking about Dewana, she got on drugs, and I don't know the cause of death. Maybe it was an overdose. And I believe that's what was reported. But anyway, I'm not sure about that. But she had a daughter, a Toye, that she'd have to take off work and go get her mama. Somebody called her, and her mama was just spaced out on drugs. And she'd go get her and ride her around, or take her to her house, this, that, and the other.
you know, I mean, in a human way, I feel bad for Dewana in some sense. Now, granted, she, like you said, the genetics and stuff, she had that bloodline, that Pusser bloodline in her, but the thing she experienced as a young child probably exacerbated that, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, I do. Now, at the same time, I've got stuff in me that I wish wasn't there on my mother's side of the family, and I've done my best to get rid of it. And I've asked God to help me want to forgive my mother for the way she did. It's there. It's planted, and I don't. My mother cheated on my daddy like you wouldn't believe. I was 5 or 6 years old, and I thought my daddy must have been the stupidest man ever was. When I was 16, 17-year-old, is what I found out about this, and later. Until I got grown, and the same thing happened to me. My daddy was a smart fella, like I said earlier, he was a giant. Anyway.
well, you know, in the same breath, I say that about Dewana and what she experienced losing her mom and then losing her dad and all that trauma that she experienced from that. I think there still comes a decision you make in life that you can either go this way and be a victim, or you can go this way and overcome it.
I believe the only way to overcome it is education.
Yep.
I believe that. got two boys. One of them's got two kids. Other's got one. Oldest boy's got a boy and a girl. The oldest boy will be 44. The youngest boy will be 40. And he's got a 8-year-old boy. And he makes
Okay.
about $50 an hour.
I tell you what, growing up, that's where a lot of people I went to school with, their parents worked. Made good money.
My boy makes right at
Dad or
$50
Kimberly
an hour.
Clark won.
Yeah. And his wife is a registered nurse. He's making between 80 and 90 a year. And the oldest boy works
Okay.
computer programmer. He's $97,700 a year right now. Anyway, my boy's daughter, I may not have time to listen to all
No,
this,
no, that's
but he called me this morning. They've been to Nashville to some basketball tournament. She turned 12-year-old. So that makes her right now, 12 years and 3 months old.
yeah.
She's 5'8" tall, playing basketball. And my boys, they've been playing some of the tournaments around here and getting along pretty good. They went to Nashville. And said one team was all black, all big tall girls, and the 6th and 7th graders, all of them. And on the tip-off at the start of the game, he said, Reese is my granddaughter, said she out-jumped that black girl that high. And they went and played 3 games, and she made 21 shot blocks, and rebound, I think, 5 different times, made 2 3-pointers, and can dribble with either hand. Now, she's a 12-year-old. She's a clumsy 12-year-old. But now there's basketball coaches in different places that's already interested in her.
She could be like that. You know, the girl that's on TV right now, that white girl from Iowa, Caitlin Clark. It's lighting it up right now. Somebody works with her right, she gets the right training and development.
They got a private. She goes to practice 2 or 3 times a week, and they've got 6 or 7 girls that put them together. And my granddaughter, of course, put her on the varsity team, 7th and 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And the coach let her play every chance she gets. But matter, there's an 8th grader my granddaughter went home, told her daddy, Bart's my boy, told her dad that at school today there's an 8th grade girl said, you play too rough for her, you play too rough for her. Anyway, right now she's a little bitty and she can jump and touch the backboard. She can jump like a deer.
And I got 3 daughters. My brother had all the boys, and I grew up playing sports and football and baseball, and thought, well, I'm gonna have boys, and I'm gonna be able to, and they're all into cheer. So now I'm a cheer dad,
Well, that's all right. That's all right. Anyway, of course, my boy and his mother, they both said that she's just like you, talking about me. And that's what I ain't been wrong. That's all.
That's right.
Now, of course, I stayed married 23 years, and I never cheated on mine. I didn't lie to her about nothing serious, and never hit her. And I run equipment 8 years, and then see real good. Now that I know you can stand out there in the middle of that street and talk to me in a normal voice, and I read your lips and pretty well tell what you're saying. Yeah.
Wow.
I ain't as good at that now probably as I was then, but kids competing with horses and won everything. In everything they went at, they were successful at it. And I've seen my ex standing and sitting maybe on a horse over yonder somewhere 50 foot away talking to a man. And I'm not a jealous person. If I had been, I'd killed him. But I've sat and just sit there and watch him and tell you about every word they were saying.
I wish I had that skill, but I sure don't. I had to write everything I do.
Back by the time my oldest boy was born, I told myself I need to get rid of this bitch. This ain't working out. Boom, she got pregnant. I knew when I crawled off of it and that happened. She did the same thing. Happened 3.5 years later. Got the other one. Anyway, I live with it to get my boy. I mean, I got hooked with a boy. Now I'm tired. I stayed, and we had another, and that was shame on me that time, maybe. But he
You had to keep the family together for them boys,
I did.
Yeah. That speaks highly of you, though.
The Masonic Lodge, I think. People mention my kids way back a long time ago, and wasn't married then. That's one way I know everybody thinks their kid's good. If you want to really know about my boys, go talk to their girlfriend's parents.
There you go. Yeah.
And it was, my oldest boy is he's a real kind of a conscientious kind of kid. He's a clown, good looking boy. He's 5'8" or 5'9" too, and he'd be 16.
You got a family full of tall ones over there.
Yeah, my daddy was 5'11", probably never weighed over 170 pounds. My mother was 5'9" or so, never was big. My sister was about 5'10" and never was big. My oldest brother had that little man syndrome, just like me about right here.
Yeah.
And then the others just on a normal height. Anyway, I raised mine, and I'm proud of me.
That's
saying
something.
stuff a man don't need to be saying probably.
Well, that's something to be proud of because a lot of men these days are just
I've had 2 or 3 friends
leave the middle of the night.
told what I just told you about my ex and things that went on. And I don't know how in the hell you put up with that. I don't know why you didn't feel that big. I'm not a jealous person, and I didn't approve of it. But anyway, and another thing.
But you're a man, and I mean, men have that tendency to think the same, you know.
Early on, I just got to wear no cologne or aftershave. I spread it on her. Cigarette slobbers. It's really easy to smell. But I just spread it on her, and I probably didn't know everybody she cheated with, but I know a bunch, and there was a bunch of them.
So I think you missed your.
I don't want my sons to ever know that.
Yeah. You may have missed your calling. You've been a hell of an investigator.
I don't want my sons to know that. I don't want to shame them for that. They deserve it. And she wasn't a bad person. She wasn't bad.
And she's still living? She's still.
Oh yeah, I had a kid 18 years younger than her.
Really?
They put her after she went to work and she promised some people some help if they get her a job. And it happened. But after so long a time, they made her supervisor over second shift. And then after about less than 2 years of that, they paid her seniority and quit.
Really?
I mean, she didn't tell me that. But
They shut that. It's still
going.
Is it really?
It's now, according to my boy, she said, she's not working there now. Her husband still does. But she had told them that if they would hire anybody come in there, if they pass a drug test and show up. Yeah. Used to it's hard to get a job there.
You can't get people on work these days.
I mean, it's all I got another buddy, Randy Butler, works at what now is. He's been there. He's 67. Been there since he's 17 years old. Second, the black woman was there 2 or 3 weeks before he was, and this fellow used to be red-headed, and he had temper like a red ball. Good fella. I mean, a good fella, a family man, and the friends and all. When he quit, he'd be to go watch them.
I got you.
And there's people up there that works around him, works all supervision over him is upstairs in the office. He does the shipping and receiving and hiring help and this, that, and the other. And they're paying him out to really keep him quick and getting him bad health.
Well, you get somebody that's been there that long, it's hard when they do leave and retire. It's hard to lose that experience, you know.
Me and him go to horse sales together all the time, and we talk about stuff, and he'll tell you, some bitches don't know this or that, and the plant manager, one time he said something to him about the employees, whatever the would be union rights if he had a union, and they done different to one if the rest of them found out to be a bunch of them get mad. And so told the plant manager, you dumb son of a bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. And this man just shaking his shoes. So, anyway, that sounds unreal. But some people that works up there, and a couple of nephews that he has that works there, they tell me the same kind of stuff. And also, if he brings somebody, if he gets somebody to come put in an application and put him down as something to brag on, what do you call it? Reference. Yeah. They give him $500. He said, if you bring me somebody else, they'll give you $500 and give me $500 if they hire him.
wish they'd do that, but I work for the state. They ain't gonna do that.
Now I know you probably got somewhere to go.
Well, I got to get to Nashville. I do. I got to drive to Nashville tonight and be up there through Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're
I'll
getting ready
talk to
to.
Larry Wagner.
Please.
If I don't talk to him today, I'll be at his house tomorrow.
That's fine. I'll be home Wednesday evening, so just I'll holler at you, or you holler at me maybe Thursday,
I
Friday.
won't call him on the telephone and talk
That's
about
fine.
that.
That's fine.
I don't
Just give me a
really-
copy
You
of
don't never
that.
know who them cell phones can be buzzed.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
yeah, I'd like to get my eyes on that letter. Because Ronnie just retired, and I don't know where all
I
his
know he
stuff.
ain't done away with it. I'm certainly had, and I'll get you a copy of
Okay.
it. But anyway, I mean, go and talk to me.
Yeah. Hey, good to meet you, brother.
Yeah.
man.
I hope you hadn't wasted your time.
No, not at all. None of this is a waste. This is. I'll be honest with you. This is the best part of my job is just getting to sit down and just talk to people.
You
Otherwise,
said what you did. I used to think, I could just people. You could read it. You do that more right there 3 or 4 days. You figure out whether he's worked over.
yeah.
Read people. And my oldest boy has that. And I was talking to him about some stuff, and he said, I said, son, now you might know. I said, yeah, I know. I've trained with the best.
Well, at some point in my side, my work, you've been there so long, you have to move in supervision, and then they hire new people to come up under you.
And as long as you've been there, what I just said about people, you can follow your nose. I used to.
People are.
I used to. I can't remember, but I used to. I was going down the highway. You just feel the senses and sitting me the right way. Mm-hmm. We all, and I've been in enough stuff with horse wrecks and 4 or 5 car wrecks and had a battle for December. Woman pulled out in front of me on the 4 lane in a little SUV. I was in the 3/4 ton Ford pickup with a 20-foot cattle trailer. She pulled out and hit her running better 50 or better. And walked away from it.
You're lucky for that.
We got a guardian angel, man.
I'm telling you.
But you'd have to see the truck. Anyway, let's go on. I know you got to go.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm going to get busy now.
Yeah, because
2 or 3 things now with this.
Well, you got.
I'll tell him your name, who, and his status. And you want the letter. And I know he had tore that letter up or thrown it away.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to, because I've got some connections where I can kind of poke around and find out, first of all, why is it the guy and them didn't want to touch this? Why, and then.
Guy, then I screwed him in the ground when he died. Now he ain't told me that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Used to be state troopers all pretty straight.
Oh, yeah.
I used to, tell me if I'm wrong, I raised my kids and lost it several times. I tell them when they're young, little, if something happened, if you're in a wreck or something happened, you got stranded or whatever, you talk to the policeman, he'll help you. The state troopers used to rule.
Well, I tell you what, so best thing that ever happened to TBI was back when this thing happened with Buford and Pauline. They were under the Department of Safety. They were tied in with the troopers. They were called the Tennessee Bureau of Criminal Identification. But then you had the Governor Ray Blanton scandal where he was selling pardons. Well, the legislature realized we need an agency that's independent of politics. So granted, every place you work, whether you're in a factory or you're somewhere else, there's internal politics. There's people, you know what I'm saying, that jockey for this, that jockey for that. But I'll be honest with you, I'd investigate the governor if they called me to. I mean, I can investigate anybody. I mean, there's
I have said, I'm too old to be a policeman now, but I have said, and I used to tell my wife, I'm talking about this and that, and I said, maybe I got the right to keep things I put the pisser off. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always thought I was good enough, straight enough, got it from my dad. If they put me in a position, every man does have a price. I just don't know what it would be.
Yeah, well, that's.
And I'm trying to tell you, I try to tell everybody, take me one put me in jail either way.
I'll tell you a story since you brought that up. So I had a convoluted way on how I got in this area right here. I mean, I'm originally from Corinth, so I'm right there at the state line where I grew up. So being from Corinth is about like being from Tennessee. But I went to the Army,
when I was young, and then when I got out of the Army, my dad had retired from TBI in Pickwood. My mom and dad, so they moved up to Clifton up there on the edge of the river. So when I got out of the Army, I needed a place to go because I mean, it was early '90s back then. The times were different, but anyway, that's where I landed up there. So I went to work in Wayne County, worked down there for about 8 years as a cop.
You don't know Charles McDonald?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know?
I rode some horses for him way back.
Well,
He married Bernice Hartley's daughter.
I used to date his daughter, Faith.
Sure enough.
Yeah, we were.
She's a pretty child.
She's beautiful. She's down out down Montgomery somewhere teaching or something. But it's a small world, I tell you. But so I had a friend of mine, a really good friend up there, really really close friend, but no more. He got to DUI. No, he didn't get it. A friend of his, a mutual friend, got to DUI. Well, he calls me up one day and says, because I arrested him. He said, $1,500 cover for you to make this thing go away. His name was Stacy. I won't tell you what's his name. His name was Stacy. I said, Stacy, I said, I tell you what, just consider this our last phone call and just consider our friendship over. I said, don't you ever call me and mess with me shit again. This is over. So just consider this a courtesy. I'm not coming to arrest you for this. But I said, don't you ever call me again. Yeah, I mean, and back then in the early '90s, $1,500 would have come in handy.
I don't remember what year it was. I worked for Pittman Propane. Back 12 years I worked at Public Works, worked for the propane tanks, tow motor tanks around the factories. Broke me down. But my son had bought he'd had a Dodge pickup and a 360 engine, and it would just fly. And like a lot of Dodge, the tank was fading off of it. And that's for whatever reason, he got tired of it, bought something else. And the way we'll do that on truck. You want it? I'd like to have it. We didn't have it. No, I thought I'd do that. Just tell me how much it's worth and I'll try to buy it from him. And I forgot how I priced it at $1,500. Well worth that at the time. But I don't know what year that was. Anyway, still had his tag and insurance on it. He told me so. And I didn't look. But he sat around there and took him to the carburetor. Maybe that's he's having a problem with it. That's why he got tired of it. He's that way. But I tinkered with it myself, so I got the plug screwed up, and then it got so hard somebody to fix it. And I really got it screwed up. So one Saturday evening, about 2 or 3 months later now, I went to the horse sale. I just got up there to pick up. He was trying to trade it. So I went to the truck, had my boy tag and insurance on it, tag and insurance on it. But it was expired. So anyway, I go up at 22 100, pull through that, and then just nail that truck. He said the 8th day, and that's 60, somewhere in there. And I laid her down, and that son gun just run up yonder, and before I got close to a car in front of me, just backed off. But there's a state trooper had jumped over that hill up there and got me. Now, I had this material endorsement on my CDL license, and he turned the lights on, and when he got to me, I waved at him, put my flashers on, and went on up there to where I could get off the road. He rolled in there and see my tag, see my license and insurance. And was having CDLs and Class A CDL and reckless driving, didn't get them right now. Anyway, I just looked at my license and got proof of insurance. I just bought this truck for my son, he got his insurance, looked in the glove box, and that was expired. The tag had expired, the windows was tinted too dark, and I run an 80 and a 70. 55, 70 to 55, which is 50 over, and that's the right. Anyway, he wrote me tickets, of course, to all of it. He wasn't rude about it, and I showed him, get those to him. And I went through Lexington, that's Henderson County. I went through Lexington at Ricky Fast Trucking, and he come to my house for 2.5 years learning how to ride a cutting horse. Went to Fort Worth and won one of the big deals.
Yeah.
As not a pro. Anyway, went in there and talked to him, told him that. I said, you need to talk to Miss Vicky, his wife, who had a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
For the truck driver. She come in about that time, and I told her, she said, that ain't no problem. You just need one of them little old lawyers. I said, okay. And how much that gonna cost? And she said, a bunch. But she said, lost my license, it would cost
Oh, a lot
$1,000 or
more,
more a
yeah,
year from
yeah.
now, and a whole lot of this, that, and the other to get them. Anyway, she looked me up, made me an appointment, so when you come back through Lexington, I said Thursday, and then Tuesday, and what time you be here, what time I need to be here. And I said, normally around 9 o'clock. And she called me later, said, I've got you an appointment. I didn't think his name, had a lawyer. And you'd be there at 9 o'clock. I said, I will be there. And I was. Walked in, told him the story. And I said, I don't know how old I was, 65 or 6 or whatever. And I used to drive fast and drag race and everything else. But hell, I'm old now in the CDL license.
Yeah.
He said, "Did you and the police didn't have any confrontation?" He didn't talk rough to me, and I sure didn't. And on and on, and he said, "Come back in. When are you going to come back through town?" I said, "It's Tuesday." I went back in on Tuesday. He was there when I got there on the afternoon. And he said, "You can bring me $750. And he told me the first day. He said, "That ain't no problem. Me and the judge were out together all the time." But he said, "You bring me $750. And probably you can bring me $150 for the courthouse." I said, $250 for the state trooper, $250 for the judge, and $250 for the I said, "You can bring me about $150 for the people in the courthouse." And I said, "That ain't no problem." And I said, "I'll be back." This is the second day. And he said, it was early. I took him back up here at 4 o'clock. And I said, "That'd be great." I said, "I'll bring cash money." "Oh, that's better." It cost me $900 to get out of
But
it.
it was still cheap.
It was cheaper than losing my license for a year and losing my job. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, bro. Hey, man, it's good to meet you.
I'll be talking to you again.
You got my number, brother. You be safe, man.
I'll do it.
Sorry, man. You good, bro?